A captivating gal on the street grabs the attention of every man with her beauty. The man from the account department approaches, unaware of her marital status, inviting her to a drinking party. Unfazed by the invitation, she reveals her wedding ring, indicating her married status, and dismisses the offer coldly. Disheartened, the man is comforted by a colleague who enlightens him about Tojo Futuki, the leader of the design team. Despite her flashy appearance, Tojo Futuki is known for her exceptional skills in the studio, gaining recognition in her field. The revelation surprises the man, realizing he didn't know much about her beyond her external appearance. Reflecting on Futuki's hidden personal life, the man expresses admiration for her skills and wonders about her husband's qualities. Now scene changes to Fuyuki's husband, Hara Tayo, an office worker in engineering, and holds the position of team leader. He looks quite nerd. Colleagues urgently request bug fixes via email, emphasizing the need for a prompt response from Hara. Hara contemplates the tight deadline, wondering if they'll finish on time. Fuyuki approaches Hara quietly, playfully touching her chest to his cheeks, greeting him with a suggestive good morning and a nickname, Taku. Hara, surprised by her voice, responds with a cheerful good morning while typing on the computer. Fuyuki blushes and glances at Hara's computer. Found a note. What would we do if someone heard you? They would found out we were married, you know? Smiling, Fuyuki reassures Hara that it's early, and there aren't many employees around to discover their secret. As Fuyuki contemplates their situation, a woman approaches from behind, addressing her as team leader regarding the day's meeting. Fuyuki turns back and interrupting her words with a cold expression, declaring her immediate intention to attend the meeting without further discussion. Hara gathers the courage to inform the president about his intention to marry Fuyuki, emphasizing their discretion about their relationship within the company. The president, amused, points out the forbidden nature of love in the company, considering potential obstacles for a startup. Hara and Fuyuki exchange glances, realizing they were unaware of the company's policy on workplace relationships. Despite the company's stance, the president values their talents and suggests that keeping the relationship a secret within the company is acceptable. Hara and Fuyuki gain a special approval, allowing them to maintain their relationship while navigating the challenges of a company where love is officially forbidden. Fuyuki focused on her work. Fuyuki is interrupted by a man from her behind. He says, "Fuyuki's in its lunch break, don't you want to eat together?" Fuyuki with a cold expression says, "I don't have time for that." The man notes Fuyuki's busy schedule, emphasizing her workload. Fuyuki's attention shifts to a colleague of Hara, who refers to him as senpai, seeking clarification on something. Hara and the colleague engage in a conversation. Fuyuki gets jealous seeing both of them close. Fuyuki, with a cold expression, arrives at Hara's department and says it's already lunch break. "Don't just work and have some rest. Okay?" Hara awkwardly agrees, and Fuyuki seizes the opportunity to leave. Hara's colleague comments on the team leader from another department came all the way here for that. After a meeting with her subordinates, Fuyuki finds Hara still immersed in his work. Playfully, Fuyuki surprises Hara by placing her chest on his head, causing him to shout her name loudly. Fuyuki reassures him, mentioning that everyone has already left, and Hara admits being deeply focused on his task. With a smile, Fuyuki encourages him, assuring him that it's okay and to do his best. Hara, expressing concern about finishing up work, suggests a quick dinner, to which Fuyuki offers to handle the cooking and housework. Grateful, Hara calls Fuyuki a lifesaver, and she insists it's fine. Reflecting on Takun's love for housework, Fuyuki realizes they haven't had many conversations lately. Contemplating taking over the housework herself, she envisions creating more time for intimate moments at night, fostering a deeper connection with Takun. At the supermarket, the cashier asks Fuyuki if she needs a plastic bag, and she shows her own bag, saying she have one with a cold expression. Walking home with groceries, Fuyuki overhears a couple whispering about her, wondering if she bought radishes. She ignores the gossip and heads straight home. Ready to cook, Fuyuki, holding a kitchen knife and an onion. "If I look it uncooked, it should be alright." While intensely staring at her hand, she contemplates the outcome of her cooking experiment. Hearing the washing machine finish, Fuyuki assumes the dryer is done and discovers that she accidentally put a t-shirt in the dryer. Wearing the now short t-shirt, she reflects on how she liked the short knit dress but might not be able to wear it anymore. Suddenly, she smells something burning and realizes her dish is roasted. As Takun arrives home, he notices a burnt smell in the kitchen and realizes something went wrong with Fuyuki's cooking. Fuyuki, avoiding eye contact, apologizes, but Takun suggests they eat out tomorrow since they haven't done so in a while. With a bright smile, Takun expresses excitement about finding a late-night restaurant, making Fuyuki blush. Suddenly, Fuyuki hugs Takun from behind, leaving him curious about what's on her mind. Fuyuki playfully lifts her knit and reveals her bra, and says we can eat outside but what about here? To which Takun suggests going to bed. The details of the night remain a mystery, and as morning comes, Fuyuki wakes up, realizing they overslept due to exhaustion from the events of the previous evening. As the morning alarm rings, Takun wakes up, turning it off and finding Fuyuki rolling over close to him. Fuyuki, with a bright smile, greets him with a cheerful good morning, but Takun notices her pajama top is unbuttoned. Blushing, Takun covers her with a blanket, warning about catching a cold, but Fuyuki playfully pulls his head to her chest, suggesting staying close to each other to keep warm. Takun's face turns bright red in embarrassment. He awkwardly gets up, mentioning they're running late for work, trying to escape the playful cuddling moment. Fuyuki, after applying makeup, radiates with brightness. She expresses concern to Takun, saying it's really bad. Confused, Takun asks what happened, and Fuyuki, with a bright face, declares that she feels so pretty. Approaching Takun, she asks if he agrees, making his face turn red as he internally acknowledges her cuteness. Takun questions if she used a different perfume, and Fuyuki confirms. When he compliments the scent near her ear, she blushes intensely, expressing happiness for waking up early. Takun responds with a puzzled huh. At the company, a man greets Fuyuki, waving and calling her Tojo-san. Fuyuki responds with a polite good morning. The man tries to smell her perfume, complimenting its scent. Fuyuki, with a wink, playfully mentions this was only meant to be smelled by my husband. And departs, leaving the man pondering, I'm so jealous. Meanwhile, on the other side, Takun feels sleepy. While climbing the stairs, Takun messages Fuyuki that he'll go home first to make dinner. The female students ahead notice Takun holding his mobile and assume he might be taking pictures of their skirts. Long-hair girl points her finger towards Takun. She says he just took a photo of our panties. Takun attempts to explain, refuting the accusation by emphatically stating it's not true. Despite his denial, the girls insist they witnessed his actions. The short-haired girl claims Takun is thirsty to see a woman. The long-haired girl takes it a step further, implying that Takun even to the point he would vent himself looking at some high schoolers. So gross. A man in a suit intervenes, questioning the girls about the situation. The long-haired girl accuses Takun of taking inappropriate photos. Fuyuki steps in, reaching for Takun's arm and embracing him, asking the girls what they need from her husband. Takun blushes. The long-haired girl asks Fuyuki if she's Takun's wife and simultaneously thinks to herself that Fuyuki looks more like a gal than they do. Fuyuki, agreeing by saying, "You're right." Fuyuki, wearing a cold and expressionless face, questions the girls about their intentions, asking, "So, what do you need?" Nervously, those girls leave the place. The man in the suit observes Fuyuki's beauty and concludes that if she's his wife, there's no reason for him to take inappropriate pictures of the girls. Returning home, Takun awkwardly thanks Fuyuki for saving him from suspicion. Fuyuki, pondering something, mentions having something in her closet. Takun, puzzled, doesn't understand. Fuyuki instructs Takun to wait in their bedroom, leaving him curious. She later enters wearing a skirt. Fuyuki, in a tight shirt and short skirt, asks Takun for his opinion, questioning, "Does it still look good on me?" Blushing, Takun expresses, "This brings back so many memories." "But why?" Fuyuki, sitting on top of Takun, playfully responds, "Because I can't lose to a young girl." Takun's face turns all red, and he calls out Fuyuki's name in response. Fuyuki, playfully encouraging, takes Takun's hand and guides it to her chest, suggesting they can have fun tonight. Both their faces light up, and Takun agrees. Fuyuki then playfully suggests Takun can take pictures of her panties, lifting her skirt. With a blushing face, Takun declines, "I'm not into that stuff." And Fuyuki teases him, expressing playfully what a shame. Two guys walking on the street, one in a jacket remarks to his friend, "Isn't that girl hella cute?" His friend with glasses asks, "Who?" The man in the jacket points to a gal, and his friend comments on her breasts are huge. Fuyuki, waiting for Takun and looking at her phone, receives a message from him, he'll arrive soon and send a sorry sticker. The guys notice Fuyuki and call her One-ichan. The man in the jacket invites Fuyuki, "Do you want to drink some tea with us?" Fuyuki informs the guys that she's waiting for someone, indicating she's occupied. Takun hurries to Fuyuki, apologizing for making her wait. Fuyuki responds with a bright smile. The guys mockingly laugh at Takun, with the man in the jacket pointing at him, questioning if Fuyuki was actually waiting for him. It's so hilarious you are dating this guy. Awkwardly, Takun scratches his head in response to the mocking comments. That guy continues, remarking that Takun and Fuyuki don't seem like a good match. Takun, scratching his cheek, admits he can't deny that. Someone, likely the man in the jacket, comments to Fuyuki, suggesting she should be ashamed to walk beside Takun. Fuyuki, indignant, asks, "What did you say?" She clenches her hand, defending Takun's simplicity and cleanliness, declaring it to be super cool. Despite the guy's laughter, they continue to mock Fuyuki, suggesting she doesn't care about men's appearances. Fuyuki, fed up with their persistence, sighs and adopts an intimidating expression. She confronts them, stating that you think just wearing trendy clothes make you fashionable. Isn't your head pretty lame? Fuyuki's statement startles the two guys. The man in the jacket questions Fuyuki, asking what's wrong with her. Fuyuki boldly states that she would be ashamed to walk with him. Takun attempts to calm the situation, expressing he has no issues with them. The situation escalates as the man in the jacket tries to grab Fuyuki's hair. Takun intervenes, grabbing the man's hand with a smile. Takun says, "Don't touch her. I'm her husband." Puzzled, the man in the jacket realizes they're married, prompting him and his friend to hastily run away from the scene. After scaring off the guys, Takun remarks, "I'm glad I learned self-defense for moments like this." Takun extends his hand to Fuyuki, asking, "Shall we go?" Fuyuki takes Takun's hand, responding with a yeah. They head to the railway station, and as the train announcement plays, Fuyuki expresses her happiness, suggesting it's good to leave their house sometimes. They board the train for a date, but upon arrival, they realize there's an unexpected event in the next town, leading them to exclaim, "Shit." In the crowded train, Fuyuki and Takun stand close, their faces near each other. Takun apologizes, suggesting they should have taken a car. Fuyuki reassures him, saying it's completely fine, and expresses gratitude for being close even in public. Takun acknowledges her words, and while traveling, he dozes off. Takun thinks the train is shaking so much. "I'm getting sleepy." He falls asleep on Fuyuki's breasts. Observers on the train witness this scene, and some of them think, "Is this what heaven looks like?" Takun wakes up suddenly, apologizing to Fuyuki. Fuyuki pats his head, thanking him for putting in overtime to make the date happen. With a smile, Fuyuki acknowledges Takun's efforts and expresses gratitude, to which Takun blushingly says Fuyuki's name. They share smiles, and Fuyuki mentions how much fun she had that day. With confidence, she playfully suggests, "Go ahead and use my breasts as pillows." Takun, blushing, quickly responds, denying the playful suggestion, saying, "I won't, okay?" At the aquarium, Fuyuki admires the fishes and exclaims about how pretty they are. Fuyuki excitedly calls Takun to look, and he laughs. Fuyuki asks what's funny, and Takun playfully remarks that she looks like a child. Fuyuki questions him, and Takun reassures her, saying she looks cute. Fuyuki responds with a playful "well then" and grabs Takun's arm. Fuyuki says, "Camera, let's take a picture." While attempting to take a picture, Fuyuki suddenly shouts, "This is really bad." Takun asks, "What's wrong?" as Fuyuki seems alarmed. Fuyuki turns around and points out her colleague. Takun, realizing the potential consequences, recalls the president's words about love being forbidden. Takun suggests going out in secret to avoid being discovered, but Fuyuki mischievously says she doesn't want to. Fuyuki insists they're on a date and should have fun, reassuring Takun that there are many people around, so they'll be fine. Fuyuki suggests going to the dolphin show, and they both head in that direction. Takun suggests leaving, sensing trouble. Fuyuki's colleague questions their presence, surprising both Takun and Fuyuki. Fuyuki worries about exposure. The colleague hints at a romantic connection. Fuyuki interrupts with a cold gaze, asserting, "We are working, you know? We came here looking for a reference for the new project. We are both team leaders. So that's why we are here." The colleague believes Fuyuki's explanation, dismissing the dating suspicion. The colleague shares he's on a date, "We just met the other day." A dolphin leaps, splashing water on Fuyuki. Panicking, Takun calls her by name Fuyuki. Quickly adjusting, he addresses her as Tajuzan and asks if she's okay. Fuyuki's clothes are soaked from the water, particularly her top. She complains about the direct hit. Takun notices his colleague staring at Fuyuki's breasts, and Takun gets pissy because of his look. Takun offers his handkerchief to Fuyuki, suggesting she use it. Fuyuki expresses gratitude and takes the handkerchief. Takun advises Fuyuki, mentioning that some people are looking, suggesting she covers her topside. They leave the show and continue walking together on the street. Takun reassures Fuyuki that they didn't get caught. Fuyuki surprises Takun with a sudden hug from behind. Takun, taken aback, questions the gesture. Fuyuki playfully asks if Takun was jealous. Takun admits maybe a little. Fuyuki teases Takun for being easy to understand and calls him cute. Fuyuki expresses a desire to eat fish. Takun questions her really. A woman from behind calls out Fuyuki's name. It turns out she's the woman accompanying Fuyuki's colleague. Both of them later. The woman accuses Fuyuki's colleague for looking at another girl during their date. Fuyuki's colleague, shocked, denies the accusation. The woman expresses disapproval, says see you next time, and leaves. Fuyuki's colleague sheds a tear, realizing he has been dumped. The next day, Takun mentions having work and starts to leave early. Fuyuki rushes over in her pajamas, and Takun tells her to dress up. Fuyuki hints, aren't you forgetting something important? Confused, Takun doesn't grasp what she means. Blushing, Fuyuki suggests a goodbye kiss. Takun, embarrassed, covers his face, exclaiming, what? Fuyuki says we can't flirt at our workplace, right? This is the only time of the day we have. But Takun remains silent. Eventually, Takun kisses Fuyuki on the cheek, to avoid temptation. Fuyuki, left blushing, questions why the cheek. Takun, without turning back, says if I kiss you in the mouth, I won't be able to hold back, and leaves with a blush, and Fuyuki, covering her lips, declares it unfair. On the roadside, a woman smokes a cigarette. A drunk man approaches, expressing a desire for more company despite drinking alone. She sighs, telling him she doesn't have time to fool around and advises him to hit on someone else. The drunk man grabs her hand, insisting they're both single. Onlookers notice, but no one intervenes. Passing by, Takun observes the situation and wonders if she's okay. The drunk man tightens his grip on the woman's hand, and she exclaims, let me go. Takun intervenes, saying, hey. The woman puzzles over Takun, wondering where she has seen him before. On the other side, Takun talks to the drunk guy. The woman recalls the aquarium incident, realizing they are connected. Suddenly, she escapes from the drunk man's grip, grabs Takun's arm, and declares, he's my husband. Both Takun and the drunk man are surprised. The drunk man exclaims, what? You had a partner. And hastily leaves the scene. The woman thanks Takun, explaining she was smoking before work and got into trouble. Takun modestly says he didn't do much. She disagrees, mentioning others ignored the situation, but he stood up. Taking off her glasses, she adds he was pretty cool. Takun, scratching his head, says thank you. She reveals she works there, and Takun realizes they share the workplace. Showing her ID card, she introduces herself as Hokuho Akin, a writer for the script team. Takun checks her ID, surprised to see it's Hokuho Akin. He admires her work, thinking her name brings prestige to the company. Akin explains she works from home, which is why they haven't met. Takun reveals his identity as Haratayo, showing his ID card. Akin examines Takun's ID closely, muttering, I see. In the same workplace. Confused, Takun doesn't understand her remark. Akin excuses herself and heads to the company without further explanation. In the corridor, Takun spots Fuyuki's hand and hears her call him in. Surprised, he enters, realizing it's Fuyuki, who reassures him no one's around. As Fuyuki pulls him in and shuts the door, Akin hears the door slamming. Takun questions Fuyuki what's the matter, and to his surprise, she gently kisses him. Both blush, and Fuyuki mentions it's revenge for earlier, proposing to continue at home. Takun agrees, and Akin, observing, finds the situation interesting. Well, I quite don't like look on this woman. Fuyuki heads to the smoking area and notices someone, calling out, Akin? Akin responds with a friendly hi, and Fuyuki remarks on the rarity of seeing her there. Akin explains she has a presentation, to which Fuyuki responds, got you. Reflecting on their last meeting, Fuyuki asks, when was the last time we met? Akin places her hand on her lips, pondering, I think it was when Gal Queen Quest was released. I was able to finish it just because of you. Flashback, Fuyuki startles Akin, excitedly declaring, I found a gal. Fuyuki mentions, you used me as a reference quite a lot. Damn, it's been 2 years now. Akin inquires about Fuyuki's life during this time, asking, did you get married? Fuyuki, eyes wide, tensely admits, yes. Akin asks about the spouse, and Fuyuki nervously shares, he's in a completely different profession than me, you know? Fuyuki, with a forced smile, swiftly changes the topic, asking, what's the next game about? Akin reveals the original theme was an isekai, but she came up with a new idea. Fuyuki, intrigued, asks for more details, and Akin, with a mysterious expression, mentions it's about a secret office love affair. Nervously, Fuyuki comments, "I see," and questions if you changed the theme this far in. "Isn't it impossible?" Akin reassures her, questions, "What are you saying? Who do you take me for?" and proudly asserts her confidence. Fuyuki praises Akin as the company's pride, calling her the godly writer. Meanwhile, Takun stretches his shoulders and emerges from the scene. Takun observes Fuyuki and Akin walking, chatting, and thinks they get along well. "I have to be on guard. So she won't find out about us." Fuyuki notices Takun, winks, and sends a flying kiss, leaving Takun blushing and covering his face. A female colleague asks what's wrong, and Takun, still embarrassed, dismisses it, saying, "Nothing." Day becomes night. Fuyuki arrives home, opening the door with a smile, and Takun welcomes her. They share smiles, faces turning red, and Takun suggests she take a seat, acknowledging her likely tiredness. Fuyuki agrees, sit on the sofa. Takun and Fuyuki both ponder simultaneously, wondering how to break the ice, knowing that tonight holds special plans. With a shared understanding, they reflect on the delightful and lovey-dovey events they experienced throughout the day. Fuyuki leans on Takun's arm, suggesting they continue from earlier. Takun pushes Fuyuki onto the sofa, agrees with a blush. Blushing, Fuyuki gazes at Takun, her heart racing. Takun moves closer, both faces turning red. Gently, Takun kisses Fuyuki's forehead, but she calls out Takun, surprising him. Blushing, Fuyuki says, "It has to be on the mouth." Takun smiles and compliments Fuyuki, saying, "You look cute." Fuyuki sniffs her coat nervously, asking Takun if she stinks. Takun reassures her, saying, "Not really." Apologetic, Fuyuki decides to take a bath first, and Takun thinks he'll have to wait again. Fuyuki, after a few steps, blushes and asks, "Do you want to take a bath together?" Takun's surprise, processing the unexpected proposal. Fuyuki asks Takun, "Do you want to bathe together?" Both of their faces turn red. Takun enters the bathroom, thinks, "We always bathe separately, so I'm quite nervous." Fuyuki, with a bath towel, stands at the door, says Takun come in. "Okay?" Nervously, Takun agrees, saying, "Yeah," his heart racing. Once inside, both ponder, "I don't know where I should look." Takun stands up, telling Fuyuki to take his spot. Fuyuki instructs Takun to stay still. She takes some shampoo in her hand. Fuyuki offers to wash Takun's hair, and as she starts scrubbing, Takun finds it feels good. Fuyuki asks if it feels itchy, and Takun compares it to being in a beauty parlor. Takun offers to wash Fuyuki's hair, but she mentions her hair is long. Takun insists, and with a blush, Fuyuki says instead. And he starts scrubbing Fuyuki's back. Takun, in the midst of scrubbing Fuyuki's back, Takun recalls Fuyuki's words for cleansing, hair care, and a body massage. It usually takes an hour. And blushes, thinking, that's why we bathe separately. Fuyuki suggests washing the front, surprises Takun. Takun agrees, starting to scrub Fuyuki's front, who moans in response. Worried, Takun apologizes, asking if she's okay. Fuyuki, covering her mouth, reassures him she's fine. Takun, scratching his cheek, admits washing someone else is difficult. Blushing, Fuyuki says, "I thought your technique was great." Leaving Takun puzzled. They both move into the bathtub, Takun sitting in front and Fuyuki behind, and both blush. Takun thinks, shouldn't I be behind? But their height difference, Fuyuki 169 centimeters, Takun 158 centimeters, poses a challenge. Takun, preoccupied, thinks, more importantly, her tits. They're touching my back. Fuyuki hugs Takun from the behind, leave him in a sudden surprise. Fuyuki sniffs Takun and says, "We use same body soap." Takun smells the same as ever. Surprised, Takun asks, "Do I stink?" Fuyuki touches Takun's head with hers, saying, "Nope, it's rather calming. I love it." She continues, mentioning because of work we haven't had much time together aside from this, and starts dozing off. Concerned, Takun tells her, "You shouldn't sleep here. You'll catch a cold, you know?" Reflecting on Fuyuki's recent exhaustion, Takun recalls her saying, "Always, I'm dead." Takun turns back, gently touches Fuyuki's face, kiss on her lips, and with a gentle smile says, "You did great today." Guys, there's no further chapters available for recap. When they release, I'll sure recap it. Subscribe channel for other recaps.